So, why am I transphobic? Why do I hate trans people? Why do I wish for them to suffer so by denying them their genital reconstruction surgery? I don't know why that was tough for me to say. Why do I despise these people so? Well, I think it's first to preface by saying, if I truly despise trans people, if I really wish for them to be miserable, all I do is nothing, because these niggas do a fantastic job of doing that themselves. It's like, you know what I mean? If I really hated these people, if I really despised trans people so, all I would have to do is get some popcorn and laugh. Gleefully, might I add. So, Matt Walsh came out with this documentary. This documentary is called What is a Woman? Where he goes around, he asks people, some of which a little bit more conservative based, some people obviously more liberal based, what is a woman? Give me a definition for woman. Define it. Hunter Avallone said what I believe to be the most nonsensical thing I think I've ever heard in the history of my life. It goes something like this.
Now, the whole question of what is a woman, they don't like acknowledging the fact that it's a complicated question because there is no definition which actually accounts for everyone who is a woman while simultaneously excluding everyone who is not a woman. You just can't do it.
Now, I wanted to slam his head against his keyboard. I wanted to do a bicycle kick on him like I was Liu Kang. I wanted to hit him with a 3-piece combo and finish it with the Shoryuken. What word in any language has ever worked like that? I'll wait. No, I won't wait, because I would die. We'd be here for eternity, because no word in the history of time and space has ever all included every single type of particular circumstance that could happen. In fact, for that reason, we add prefixes and suffixes to words in order to change their meaning or change their definition to better fit a particular circumstance of something that happened. Or, if not a prefix or suffix, we'll just add an adjective to the statement to further change what we are referring to. It's interesting that I have to sit here and explain the English language, but we've gotten to this point in our culture where we're trying so hard to appease trans people's feelings, particularly trans women, because I've noticed that no one asked what is a man. At least when people typically ask what is a man, it's mostly to create a bunch of like unrealistic or unnecessary standards of which to define a male into manhood. Like, it's a way to actually oftentimes say that he's not worthy of the title that is man, but oftentimes it's poorly defined. It'll define, listen, I'm way off base. What we're really talking about here is to help trans people feel comfortable about transitioning or becoming said woman. They want to be considered the same as a natural born woman. Now, of course, this is absurd. And I don't say this loosely. I don't say this to be mean, to be cruel. I don't say this because I want to hurt these people. I say this because it's absurd. I say this because it is legitimately and truly nonsensical. Why can we not treat trans women the same way we treat natural-born women? It kind of has a lot to do with the fact that natural-born women have like a whole cloning factory inside their bodies. Again, I know, I'm being very facetious. It's because this conversation annoys the heck out of me. I mean, heck, the whole gender conversation in general is a bit nonsensical, correct? I mean, think about it. What is gender oftentimes defined as? Gender is the social expression a particular human has based on their sex. Men who are typically bigger and stronger than women are oftentimes considered a little bit more aggressive. So men posture a lot more. Men usually exercise and work out more to put emphasis on their muscularity. Men work in harder, more physically demanding jobs because they just have a stronger, more durable body than compared to young ladies. What do young ladies typically do? they're a bit softer. Typically, the type of roles and jobs that they have are a little bit more emotional based or a little bit more mentally based. I say mentally. As in like teaching. Teaching is both mental and emotional. Trying to manage the children as well as trying to figure out ways to teach them and depart information to them. Women typically will wear dresses. Women are typically smaller. Women are also a little bit more, I guess you could say, preoccupied with their looks. A little bit more vain. Sometimes extremely vain. Sometimes just a little bit vain. They just want to accentuate the way they look. Not only because there might be a power into it, but also for some of them, it's a form of creative expression. Now, here's the interesting thing about what I just said, what I just defined as the gender expressions of males and females. It's all predicated on their sex. So if gender is predicated on the individual sex, how is it possible to be the wrong gender if it's based on your biology? Okay, add the 1, carry the 3. Okay. So gender is the social expression based on your biology. Okay, but if that be the case, then how can your biology be wrong? How can if you were born a female and you were raised to be socially as a female because of the roles that you would have in society, or at least biologically in reproduction, then how is your gender wrong? How is that incorrect? In fact, the wrong gender would actually be if you were a female and then you acted like a male. You acted like a man. See, it's nonsensical. It's silly. And yet, despite the fact that it's nonsensical and silly, people can lose their jobs over this, man. Despite the fact that this conversation is so hilariously goofy, it's considered a hot take to say that people... I can't even finish the statement. It's legitimately a hot take to say that women have uterus, that there are biological truths, realities as to what be said woman. It's remarkable. But again, this all exists to placate these people's feelings. It's the only mental illness that I'm aware of where instead of actually trying to help these individuals recognize that their perception of themselves is wrong, we actually play into it. And the reason why we play into it is because we're afraid that these people will hurt themselves, that these people will commit suicide. It's really interesting that these people are holding themselves hostage. That's what the liberal mind is concerned with, by the way. The liberal mind is not actually concerned with reality. It's not actually concerned with what a woman actually is, an adult human female. That's what they are. It's not rocket science to come to said conclusion. The reason why they're so concerned with trying to create all-inclusive definitions, the reason why they use so much globally gloop, the reason why they have to try so hard to use mental gymnastics to include trans people as women is because they're not actually concerned with the realities of what's going on. They're concerned with the feelings and the emotions these people are having. The truth of the matter is these people aren't actually concerned with these individuals' true mental health. Their mental health in helping them see correctly how they are, what they are, or valuing what they are for what they are. Nay. It's all about looking good to everyone else around you. And that's one reason why I can't respect people like this. Because in reality, if you see an individual has this much pain, if you see an individual literally hate what they are, sure. Immediately you would say, okay, give them what they want. You can put on your pants and you can cut your hair short and you can change your name from Sabrina to Tommy, but you'll still have a uterus. You still will produce egg cells. Well, you've already produced them. You'll still have a period. Oh, we'll give you testosterone now. Yet, however, despite we may shut down the cloning factory, you still have said uterus. So then we'll take some of your skin and we'll make a little, we'll make a obelisk. Yes. Let's see if you people who are into mythology understand that reference. So we'll make an obelisk for you and we'll attach it to yourself. But you won't be producing sperm. You won't even be naturally producing testosterone. You'll need to have that higher balance of testosterone provided for you by hormone replacement therapy. You won't have the growth spurt that young boys would have. In fact, interestingly enough, you wouldn't even be socialized as a young man, which I also find to be particularly interesting. I know I'm being incredibly snide, but I do find it incredibly interesting that individuals that were never women somehow feel like they're women. It makes me wonder how that works, right? It's like if you weren't socialized as a woman, but you think that you're a woman. Everything about your existence has you been treated as a male. Everyone has seen you as a male. They treat you like a young man, but you think that you're a woman. And somehow we're supposed to make sense of that. Somehow that's supposed to be reasonable. Again, I know I'm being snide. I know my tone of voice sounds incredibly dismissive and aggravated. It's because it's gotten to a point where, again, we can't even use language correctly anymore. We've gotten so far into trying to placate these people's feelings that we just can't recognize reality for what it is. We can't just say things for what they are. Least we offend these people. Least we offend the individuals they're close to. Least we offend the individuals that want to be liberal and virtue signal and appear to be good and righteous when in reality, they're actually probably really close to being evil. And what really bothers me the most about all this stuff is the fact that I'm not transphobic. I'm not scared of these people. I don't hate these people. I'm not sadistic. I don't like the hating themselves either. I have no ill will towards any of these people. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It is because I care about these people that I would much prefer that instead of putting puberty blockers on children, we actually help children and we raise them and we try to get them on the correct path. Because clearly, you can't shift your biology. You just can't. It can't be done. And I don't need to spend any amount of time really trying to break down intellectually how it is physically impossible to shift your biology. Because again, we're all adults here. I hope. We should all have some degree of rationality here. I hope. And the problem with this conversation with trans people is we have legitimately taken what is an honest mental illness, and instead of actually treating it like a mental illness, like every other mental illness, we give into the delusion. We give into this stuff, and we give into it all in an attempt to stop these people from wanting to hurt themselves. And what we should have done is given them some really bitter medicine. And let me tell you something, medicine is bitter. Medicine doesn't taste good, but what it does is it helps you heal. And so, yeah, therapy for a trans person, it's not going to be easy for them. Therapy for these people, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. But the things we're doing to children and the reconstructive surgery that we're giving to these people to give them body parts that are just non-functional. There's literally no point to it but to placate the mind. When we could have healed the mind, we could have avoided the surgery. We could have avoided the therapy, the hormone therapy, the replacement therapy I'm specifically referring to. We could have avoided all of that if we actually broke down what's going on and we helped show them that there's a huge difference between what they're considering their gender and considering their sex. Because let's be real. If you have a girl that likes wearing pants and she likes playing soccer, or she likes playing football, and she likes being rough and tumble, it doesn't make her any less of a girl than one that likes makeup, one that likes, My Little Pony, frolicking, why can't I talk today, in fields. It doesn't make that girl any less of a girl. She might be a little odd, she might be tomboyish, her interests may be more typically masculine than feminine, but she's still a girl. She's still a woman. And we need to stop pretending that just being a little out of the ordinary, just being a little out of the meh, is some path to being considered the wrong gender or the wrong sex. These people need help. And reconstructing language is not going to help them. In the same way, reconstructing their bodies isn't going to help them either. You might placate them. You might get lower suicide rates. Maybe. But that's only because you just gave in to their demands. They are literally holding themselves hostage to get you to capitulate to them. I'm going to be honest with you. In some ways, that's just downright evil. But for the liberal, who must look good for everyone, for the liberal that has to make everyone say, look, I care. I care. I'm a good person. I want to stop this stuff. Instead of actually being good, standing for truth, actually trying to help these people move out of what is clearly delusional, instead, they give in to the delusion only to feel like they've accomplished something, to feel like they've been righteous, to feel like they've accomplished something. When in reality, all you've done is just hurt someone even more than they were already hurting before. So there you go. That's my hot take on trans people. Honestly, I don't want these people to kill themselves. I don't want these people to hurt themselves. But I don't think we need to be putting children. We don't need to stop children from going through puberty. I just really don't think so. I think as adults, it's our job to raise them. We have more wisdom than these children, and we should be helping them. We should not be playing into them. We should not be trying to convince them otherwise. We should not be hurting them. To me, I feel like that's one of the biggest things. That's one of the biggest failures I think we really have when it comes to a society, is the fact that instead of actually raising children and helping them, oftentimes we actually use children as bludgeons to beat each other in some type of stupid, silly political war or whatever. In conclusion, this stuff might be a solution, but I think it's the wrong one. So that being said, I just hope you guys got something out of today's video, and if you did, man, go and click the like button. Shoot, go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below, and as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.